exciting period for you at the Directorate and the University of Cape Coast?
It is quite exciting for us because we have come a long way. Such an achievement is not something that you do overnight. It takes careful planning. It involves scanning the horizon to look at the issues that are topical for you to engage. It calls for deep thinking to see what your strategy is. So we've come a long way and we are very, very happy. Of course, during the past 60 years, UCC has carved a niche for itself as a university of academic excellence. Yes, so our track record is there, but we needed to cement this by coming on board the ranking for the globe to know that UCC has arrived.
But what went into this particular ranking, and is UCC a new entrant?
Yes, UCC is a debutant. This is the first time the University of Cape Coast is being ranked. In the past, we attempted, but we couldn't get ranked because the entry or eligibility criteria is very stringent. There are 7 concurrent eligibility criteria or exclusion criteria every university must meet before you are ranked. We were able to meet the 6, but the very first criterion we struggled to meet. That means that the first criteria actually talks about publishing 1,000 papers, more than 1,000 papers within a 5-year span, and within each of the 5 years, the threshold publications you should have is 150. And here the operational phrase is relevant publications. And when we say relevant publications, we are talking about papers that are indexed in Elsevier's database called Scopus. So that is what kept us from being ranked. So behind the scenes, we were doing self-introspection to ascertain why we have not been able to get that number of papers to be ranked. And we came out with a number of challenges, and we started looking at addressing those challenges in a systematic manner. So we asked colleagues to redirect their papers to the Scopus Index journals. We asked colleagues to forge partnerships that are impactful. We asked colleagues to also attend conferences, go for workshops and things like that, that will expose them to the research community. And we were organizing training workshops to help colleagues to do research which is globally and regionally significant. So we took steps behind the scenes to ensure that our general management policy that we implemented was explicit, saying that colleagues should desist from publishing in outlets that are not credible. And we took every step to ensure that this was done.
What got you ranked for research impact?
As you are aware, UCC is ranked #1 in Ghana. It is ranked #4 in Africa, and it is also ranked #1 in West Africa. And it has never happened that a debutant will do this. To dislodge the national leader, to dislodge the regional sub-regional leader, and even to place 4th. It's unprecedented and something which is momentous. And I believe that it takes painstaking effort to get to that particular spot. You can't do this overnight. You have to take some steps to get there, and this is what we did. Now, I will say that what we have done is also unique when it comes to the citation impact. That gauges research influence. You see, you can publish the research, you can look at the constellation of research partnerships, but you also want to know who is using your research and for what purpose. Because when you do research, the goal is to generate knowledge. The reason why we do research is to generate knowledge. That knowledge must translate into some useful product which is innovative for society. So societal impact is pivotal when it comes to this. And industrial application of the innovations is also very, very important. So what this means is that when we talk about globally, UCC is ranked #1 for research influence. As I said, by this particular metric, we did better than universities like Cambridge, Oxford, Harvard, because we scored perfect on that. We had a perfect score, whereas they had 95, 94, 97 and things like that. So we are ranked #1 when it comes to research impact. Now, the research process itself is different from the research impact. You can do the research, but if you don't tease out the knowledge that's been produced or elicited from that research for industrial application, then the influence is not going to be known. So how many people are using our research? How many people are applying the knowledge that UCC has generated? This is what we were ranked as #1 globally. And it is instructive to know that it's unprecedented in the context of the Ghanaian ecosystem.
Wait, so you mean that the University of Oxford University, Cambridge and all of that, UCC sits on their top now?
Yes, for that metric, there are 5 or so domains. We have research excellence, teaching excellence, research influence, international outlook, industry income. These are the 5 domains. And there are 13 metrics or indicators that are used across these 5 domains. And I'm saying that in one of the domains, which is research impact or research influence, also known as the field-weighted citation index, we did better than these universities that are the forefront when it comes to the ranking in general. So you have the overall rank where they do better because we didn't do well in other of domains, but they did better in other. That's why they are ranked higher. But when it comes to research influence, we are not ranked number 1. We did better than they did.
So what does it mean for this country, for the University of Cape Coast, for Ghana, and even the entire sub-region?
So first of all, we have to ask ourselves, which research constellations yielded this research influence? So we have to do some data analysis to know which are the notes that are accruing to our benefit in terms of research influence, and hit those notes. And then look at the gaps that are also there and try to really re-engineer the system so that we'll have partnerships that are much more fulfilling or much more impactful for us. Because, if you are ranked number 1, it means that you are not going to be ranked number 1 forever. There are other universities that are also interested in supplanting you at that particular spot. So it means that you have to also expand what you are doing to make sure that you are responsive to 21st century research challenges and needs. But we as a university must take the time to sit down to look at the notes. I will believe that the kind of partnership that we have forged. In fact, we did some studies where we partnered with many scholars. For instance, the global burden of disease studies. These are studies that are very research, very strong research focus, and then the impact is very huge. You see, we have a few of our colleagues who are working in that particular domain, and that has accrued to our benefit. I believe that's the collateral benefit that we have derived from that particular engagement. So it's very, very important that we look at it from that particular context, the global burden of disease. Then we also have to sit down and to know which disciplines give us these high rankings, or which disciplines contributed immensely. Of course, it is a collective effort, but the level of contribution to the effort will not be homogeneous across board. It will not be homogeneous across board. Some disciplines will fare better in terms of their contribution to our research impact. We need to identify and isolate those domains and see how we can even help them to do better. And then we look at areas, academic disciplines that we have not fared so well, and how we can prop them up so that broadly we can mount the ladder. Because when it comes to research influence, we have hit the apex. You can't go beyond the 100%. You have a perfect score. So it means that you have to prop up other areas to ensure that you are now moving in a much more comprehensive manner instead of this lopsided manner that we have actually done this year.
It means that your researchers might be doing something that is very unique that got you there.
Yes, they are doing something unique in the type of research funding that they are getting, the type of research partnerships that they are forging. Yeah, we are looking for research partnerships that are forged among teams. In the past 5 years, we said UCC should be moving towards teamed research, from disciplinary perspective to multidisciplinary perspective to interdisciplinary perspective to transdisciplinary perspective. That continuum. We want us to transition there so that if we take, for instance, an issue of climate change, we are looking at the economic dimension of climate change, we are looking at the physical dimension of climate change, we are looking at the meteorological dimension of climate change, we are looking at the environmental impact of climate change. So we are looking at it from a holistic standpoint, which means that a broad host of constituents benefit from this. And that is where the university should be headed. The kind of partnerships that elicit such responses is what we as an institution should focus on. We are clear that multidisciplinary work or transdisciplinary work is what is doing this for us. In terms of North-South partnerships, South-South partnerships, we need to move towards transdisciplinarity and look at the big picture perspective, issues that funding organizations will give huge amounts of funds to support. That is where we should be headed.
I think by now, the sustenance of where you have gotten to should be your biggest headache, how to be on top. I mean, is that what you're working on now?
Yes, so the key stakeholders within the university must now sit down. Sustainability is something which is dear to my heart because I'm a professor of sustainability science. Now, If you hit this level and you are not able to sustain it, it becomes a flash in a pan or a 9-day wonder. That is not what UCC is noted for. We are noted for consistency. Now, top-level investment management is required for us to sustain the gains. DRIC is committed in an influential manner to make sure that we prosecute the agenda which is in our research document. But we also need top-level investment management to support what we are doing, to drive our research towards what is going to be of immense benefit to us as a university. Now, when it comes to sustainability, we're also looking at other dimensions of sustainability. So it's not just the amount of funds that we need for research, but also the constituents that our research is serving. Now we are thinking about co-formulation of ideas, co-formulation of research problems, co-designing of solutions. Now, if the communities that are going to be the end users of our research are involved in the research from the very beginning of the research cycle, then the results that come out is going to be something that they can own and be part of. And then they will be using the research, because that's where the influence comes. How many people are using the research is very, very important. So we believe that we have to involve all stakeholders in that particular research cycle or research innovation ecosystem, so that they feel part of the ownership process and part of the knowledge generation process. Therefore, we are working closely with our communities. We have formed what is called social laboratories in communities. We are co-identifying problems, co-designing solutions for those problems, so that they would own the research. That is where they will see the impact in their life. So we have to balance the rankings with the local impact that we need to elicit from the kind of research that we are doing. And I believe if we have the commitment and then the collective effort that I alluded to earlier, we'll go places.
My final question. So universities in Ghana, like the University of Ghana, KNUST and all of that, I mean, some of their alumni do not even understand how the University of Cape Coast got there, being new entrant in this one. I'm not saying that they are envying the University of Cape Coast, but I mean, what are you telling them? How do you explain it?
Yes, so I just want to thank you for this question. This is also an enduring question. Usually, we have what is called the usual suspects. When the ranking comes, people are expecting a particular university to come to the fore. And sometimes we must also understand that that kind of hegemonic mindset doesn't help. Because it can be that there's a stronger force that has not come on board. If the stronger force has not come on board, anybody can claim that he is the top. UCC is here to say that we are also going to compete favorably with our competitors. They are also our research collaborators, by the way. So we understand that we are collaborators and we are competitors. But we have shown by what we have done that we are streets ahead of our competitors. As debutants, we'll be able to dislodge the national leader, the sub-regional leader, and we are fourth in Africa, displacing universities in Egypt and South Africa. This is remarkable and unprecedented. That must be given to us. And by the way, it is not only for the 138 new entrants. The things that we have chalked is for the 1,662 universities that were ranked. So it is global. What we have done is global. It is not just local impact. It's global impact. And those who care to go to the Times Higher Education website will see the information for themselves. You see, initially, because of the magnitude of what we have done, the immensity of what we have done, people are doubtful. But it is part of the process. It will fade away because the reality will dawn on them that UCC is not to be taken slightly. We mean business, and we have worked hard to get to where we are. It is not a fluke.